Phrasal verb number 12, to break out in. Definition: to erupt with something such as a rash, a cold sweat, or pimples. Examples: teenagers tend to break out in pimples. Teenagers tend to break out in pimples. If she eats the nuts, then she'll break out in a rash. If she eats the nuts, then she'll break out in a rash. When I'm stressed, I break out in pimples. When I'm stressed, I break out in pimples. Examples said more quickly: teenagers tend to break out in pimples. Teenagers tend to break out in pimples. If she eats the nuts, then she'll break out in a rash. If she eats the nuts, then she'll break out in a rash. When I'm stressed, I break out in pimples. When I'm stressed, I break out in pimples. So this verb, guys, is pretty much always used when you're saying to break out in something. You're almost always going to be talking about pimples. So the little white bumps, the little things you get on your forehead, most teenagers get these a lot, they're pimples. And if you break out, it means that you suddenly get a lot of these pimples on your forehead, on your face, and it's the same for things such as a rash. So a rash is like an area of the skin that has become inflamed, it's become red, it could itch, it could be really painful. And this is often caused by things such as food allergies, or maybe you've brushed your arm up against a plant that stings, like a nettle, or something that's, your skin has reacted badly to, and you've broken out in a rash. You can also do this in a cold sweat. If you're sick, if you have the flu, you could break out in a cold sweat. And a cold sweat is where you have the flu and you start sweating uncontrollably. So you start producing a lot of the salt water on your skin all over your body. But even though you're producing the sweat, which is often produced by the body when you're hot and you're overheating in order to cool you down, a cold sweat is when you're sick and you sweat even though you're not hot. Or you could be hot and still sweat, but that's what a cold sweat is. So to break out in, again, it's used by all speakers of English pretty much everywhere. Almost always refers just to pimples. That's probably the only time I would hear it, at least most of the time it would be that, but you can use it in these other cases. And you also wouldn't split to break in. It doesn't sound like it's something natural to me to split up the verb to break out or to break out in. So that's the phrasal verb to break out in something.